What's up YouTube, Carson here from TheTroubledPack. Today I am bringing you my Metalfoes deck. I took to my locals, went 5-0. I know it's a locals, but it's the first time I played with this deck. It's actually the first time I played since the regional I went to, which I got 29 plays at. So, I kind of experimented with the build. I'm going to keep experimenting with it. Like I have a tech card in here and stuff. I know, fancy stuff. Just because I already have my invite, like I have room to do that, which I don't know if... Like, I still think this build's really good. I put it up against I 2-0'd ABC, 2-0'd Subterrors, 2-0'd Cyber Dragon, like OTK, 2-0'd Water, or 2-1 Water. He's the only person who took a game off me, and then 2-0'd Blue Eyes. So, obviously, it's still, like, it's good. If I can say anything, the support that came out really just helps it power through back row. You can easily go through 1 to 2 back row a turn without Pendulum Summoning at all. So, I mean, sometimes it's 3, depending on your, depending on how good your hand is, and depending on how you resolve, counters the previous turn before. So, if you go first, you can go through 3 easily. If you go second, you can go through 2, 1 to 2 sometimes. It just depends. So, obviously, for the Metalfoes, 3 of each of them, that's always going to be the case in Metalfoes. 3 of each of them, except only 2 Bismugear. My logic on this is, it's not really that great. You can't Pendulum Summon it, which at the end of the day is what you want to do, because most of the time you power through back row, or power through, problematic cards, and then you can put, just monsters that beat down. It's kind of like you power through your cards, you use most of your extra deck, not most of it, but the cards you use in your extra deck will not remain in the field to attack with, unless, I mean, most of them won't stay on the field if they get striked. Some of them will. If you make a Scrap Dragon play and it's successful, obviously it stays on the field. But most of them are just bait plays so that you can just inflict damage. So, 2 Bismugear. The only reason I like this is because it can search whatever you need. Most of the time, if you're popping it, you need to replace the high skill. So you can add Volflame, which is usually what I add. Either Volflame or itself, to be completely honest. Which I did that a couple times. Ariadnes. I still am a huge fan of Ariadne. I don't get why people stop playing this. It has so much synergy with the deck. I mean, it literally has, so much synergy with the deck. If you open this, you're definitely going to be able to add at least 1 strike, and most of the time you're going to be able to add 1 or 2, Solemn cards, because you're also playing Warning. Plenty of times I do that. A lot I do that. More often than I don't do it. I add 2. So I just don't see a reason to stop playing this. In my mind, always being able to add being able to add a strike is going to be a better defense play than setting up a monster that has a negation effect, or setting up an Alchemist play, because it's just stronger, it's just better. And most of the time you can just set up the same exact play, but you have a strike set. So it just bewilders me that people quit playing that. Luster, obvious reasons. 2 Bumbunku. At the beginning of the night, I was playing 2 because I only had 2, but I'm going to continue playing 2 because it literally worked out completely fine. I never missed it. I think this might be the correct ratio now that I refine it more. You can play 1 more resource, 1 more name in your deck, and still get everything the same. 2 Eccentric. That's pretty straightforward. And then 3 Gofu, because Gofu is still so lit in this deck. I actually never got off the Zulkin play in this last, I've done it obviously before, but in this last locals at Frog Towns, I did not do it. So I still use Gofu. I went into other stuff, but I did not go into the Zulkin play. So that's it for the monsters, a decent bit of them. 2 Desires, draw power. Desires used correctly in this deck just hurts your opponent. There was I searched for a strike. And then I also set, if you have Desires, you're always going to want to set this first, because this is the most important one to set. That and a counter. So I went through 3 cards. I also think I summoned Bumbunku. So I went through 4 adds in my deck, and then I activated Desires, and I got 2 cards. It's just 2 scales, and most of the time if you draw 2 scales, that just puts you at so much, that puts you over. They're not going to be able to recover from that. Upstart for more consistency. Metalfoes Fusion. This is the only fusion card I'm playing. I really think the other one is trash. Like I said, the only thing that the other one does is pretty much puts you into a play for Alchemist, which Alchemist isn't terrible unless it's accompanied, if it's accompanied by strikes, it's good. But most of the time, Alchemist is terrible, and you're just getting rid of resources, and they can out it super, Alchemist is an easy out. That card is not that good. It's situationally good if you open, like I said, 4 to 5 back row, and just because you don't have anything else to do, turn 1 make an alchemist, it's not terrible, but you can still make the same exact play with this. So this is better. 2 painful decisions, not a hard choice to play that card. And only 1 cyclone. It would be 2 if I was going to like another event and I needed my invite. I'd probably play 2, but I'm playing something a little spicy. You'll see when I get to it. 3 strikes, 1 warning. Obviously, we all know why that's being played. 2 counter, and there it is. 2 counter. I really don't think you need any more than 3 targets, especially considering that 1 shuffles itself back. And then you can also shuffle these back. I never really want to shuffle. I don't shuffle both of these back at once because you don't want to do that just because there's a possibility to clear both your skills. So I usually leave 1 in there. And there's other you can shuffle back monsters too, so it's good. Like with Mithril, Mithril makes this deck a lot better, just so much better. And then of course 1 Dust Tornado because you can Zulkin. If you have Zulkin, your opening field will typically look like Crystal Wing and Zulkin turn 1, and you play a decent amount of spell and traps. So most of the time you can set the only time I've ever drawn into this with Zulkin, I had to play. I've only done it once, but it was so killer. I'm thinking about playing the Moonlight, Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, instead of what I'm playing now, which is the Scarlet Red Dragon Archene. But being able to Scarlet at the end of their turn is really good, especially because it doesn't kill Crystal Wing, and most of the time, if you can clear their special summon monster, and like a back row, and then also inflict damage off Scarlet, you can usually just steal the game the next turn. So, yeah, that's it for the main deck. I understand this card's bad. I want to say that, in Ideology, if they have anti-spell face up, and you don't draw into your out to it, like a quick play out the turn that they activate it, this is just as relevant as your spell card at that point. So that's that. That's just one more thing. So it doesn't really hurt you all that much, is what I'm saying. These are the rank 3s I'm playing. These are pretty much just fake plays, bait plays to just get through back row. Most of the stuff in this deck is back row removal. I'll put it in a section of back row removal compared to not back row removal. So I let my friend borrow. It wasn't this. He was playing a different build, and this is supposed to be Diamond Direwolf. I just haven't got it back from him yet. It's just sitting in his house. So honestly, this should be a Diamond Direwolf. Castell's not terrible. Diamond Direwolf's just better. I mean, the only time that you would this would be viable is if you needed to get rid of anti-spell, but most of the time Diamond Direwolf's better. I guess you could play both. I've never potentially I might cut these just because I never go into this. I've never gone into this. But it's just you want it there, so I'm not sure if I want to cut that. So yeah, that's the not back row hit. Next, Zulkin, Crystal Wing, Ignister, that's back row hate. Scrap Dragon, back row hate. Scarlet, I pretty much explained these. I went into these two a lot. I mean, I went into all of this, except Castell, a lot yesterday. So, I mean, there were games where I'd be getting out Scrap Dragon and Break Sword before I Pendulum Summon, which is pretty ridiculous for a deck to be able to do that. And then for the fusions, 2 of these because they can straight up recycle themselves in all your other fusions. The big play that you can do with this looks practically like this. So you can go through, let's just say you fuse into this, your Metalfoes fusion, and just whatever's in the grave. And you're going to have something in hand. Usually, if you can do this without normal summoning, depending if you counter correctly. If you use counter after they attack or something, you can get 2 monsters on board for free. So you can use this, but you can also use your hand, which most of the time it's worth using your hand because you're going to be, especially if you know you're going to be able to go through all their back row and just beat them. It's fine using your hand. I do it a lot. Especially because it's going to be replaced eventually. So you Mithril, use maybe your normal summon, maybe one card that's been special summoned. Shuffle back. If it gets its effect off, shuffle back one of their cards, obviously. If it doesn't, it's going to get striked, which is already doing its part because you still want to get rid of their back row. The goal here is just to get rid of strike before you pendulum summon. So yeah, if they strike it and they don't strike the summon, which happened to me yesterday, you can special summon monsters from your graveyard or Metalfoes monsters from your graveyard or extra deck. But let's just say it gets its effect through, which can happen every now and then, because they don't always have strike. So you shuffle back your fusion, then you pop this to set your fusion. You use either whatever of your resources to make this, and then you can shuffle back the fusion and draw a card now. So you're up one card. And then you pop this, obviously, and pop the other back row. So that happened quite a bit. That was a play that I did. I didn't really explain that as well as I could have, because I didn't have like other cards with it, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So I'm playing 2 of those. Honestly, I don't know why I'm playing this bad card. This card's terrible. And then 1 Adamante. It's just, this card is too slow. It doesn't do anything. I'm serious. It doesn't do anything. Like, I don't get why people play this card. I don't get why I'm playing it. It shouldn't be there. Like, it doesn't do anything. The only time I made it, I just popped it the next turn. So, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to go through the side, because this deck profile has been way longer than I expected it, but I'll do it really quickly. It's pretty much just hate. Yeah, that's it. I'm not going to, you guys can make your own side decks.